Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folani. Hope we meet you well. You recall that on Monday we had the Transmission Company of Nigeria Managing Director in the House to give us some background as to, sort of an ongoing report and what are the challenges. And so we had an hour together, questions came in. Also, a lot of the issues, they connected up with ANED, that is the Association of Electricity Distributors in Nigeria. Now, today, High Chief Sunday Odutan is with us, and Chief Odutan is the ED Research and Advocacy of ANED. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Indeed, good morning. And so he has one or two things to say. And indeed, as it happens, we have one or two questions to ask you as a result of the visit of the Chief Executive of TCN. Now, it's interesting, but just this morning, one paper was publishing, This Day has published, and that's just coincidence, because we didn't know they were going to carry that story. But it turns out that you guys, the people in your association, don't pay taxes, haven't paid taxes. At least that's the import of this day story this morning.
Thank you very much. Number one, that story is totally malicious. That story is not true. Every single disco has been paying taxes since we started on the 1st of November 2013.
So where did the confusion come from? There will be something that is being misunderstood.
One gentleman made a very unguarded...
There will be something that is being misunderstood before such a paper of such reputation.
A gentleman, supposedly a top official of PwC, was quoted to have made that statement. In what content, I wouldn't know, and I hope he will come out to dispel it.
Okay.
Because it's very unprofessional of him. If I'm an accountant and I do not audit TVC, if I'm auditing NTA, maybe I will talk about NTA. But if I make a general statement and say all TV stations in Nigeria don't pay tax, that would be a very dangerous statement to make. But I can confirm to you, and we will publish all of this, that every single disco since inception has been paying taxes.
How many?
I have all the figures. 11 discos that we have in the country. Nigeria is divided into 11 electrical boundaries. But one of the discos was returned back to the government. So the Federal Ministry of Power is in charge of Yola Disco. And that's very interesting because I expect the media to be using Yola Electricity Distribution Company as a benchmark to measure the performance of the other 10 discos. So if government is doing one by themselves and private entities are doing the other one, if we say those private people are not doing well, they just come and show us the scorecard of the one in the government house hand to also show whether what we are doing, whether we are real in this country for electricity or not. But that's another matter. So all discos have been paying taxes. A particular disco has paid over 6 billion in VAT alone. Company income tax, VAT, every single withholding tax are being paid by every single disco. And the gentleman that was quoted, well, is not an FRS person. But I think the FRS is in the position to confirm that to the public as to whether or not the discos are paying taxes.
So you challenge that assertion.
I want to believe.
You challenge that assertion.
I not only do I challenge it, we are going to get back to the person and ask him to tell us, because if somebody can go public and say such malicious, untrue things, if somebody can go and make such an unguarded statement in this country, it is not a good thing for us. Not for the industry, for the country.
Okay, so that is by way of your comment on that publication this morning and how you shall be looking at it.
Yes.
You feel that something went wrong and you're going to be in touch with them. But for the meantime, as it happens that you happen to be on air on the very same day that whole story hit, you are able to say that you are challenging that assertion. You say, as far as you're concerned, it will be stronger than that. I'm just saying challenging the assertion. Now let's get into the meat of the matter. There's so many points that came up as a result of being able to talk with our TCN. And maybe I should start with the matter of figures, statistics, because at the end of the day, that's what we can work by. They claim TCN is not happy with what they refer to as your interpretation of figures, and allege that it's being creative on the negative side. In fact, going almost as far as saying, if they actually didn't reach there, I was saying a lot of it was false. Now, TCN observes that we own the data. We have data. So nobody can tell us about the data. We know the data. The interpretation that Sunday Oduton, from time to time, in his capacity, puts out there, and the spin that he has on it, is unacceptable to them. What would be your comment?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me say, for the benefit of our viewers, for some of us, we do not have money, we do not take contract, we do not give contract, and we do not sit on any federal government fund. So what we have is our integrity. And for me as an Egbaman, as you know very well, the last thing I will do is to put that integrity in question. ANED, as the umbrella body of the discourse, we do not just go out and talk, we talk with verifiable figures and data. But let me quickly say something that is important. For the benefit of the watching public, people need to understand the structure of this industry. So let me quickly say that we have a value chain in this industry. Electricity value chain starts with generation company, which is equal to producer of electricity. The next one in the middle is called Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, which is the transporter of what has been produced. The one below the value chain is the one I represent. That is electricity distribution companies.
The last mile.
Which is the last mile, right? So
if things are working out in my home or in my business, a lot of kudos will go, all other things being equal, to the
when things are working rightly,
to the discourse that delivered it to my house.
When the ones either above or in the middle fail us, we're the one that you give we're the one that you abuse anyway. We're the one that you beat up all the time when you don't have light. We're the one that take all the bullets. But
I'm talking about this, and talking about this particular aspect where you've brought it to. TCN alleges that there is something known as, in the business, as load rejection. Too many discos, according to TCN, indulge in this.
Okay.
And briefly and simplistically explained, load rejection is about, you got to tell them what you need. You say, for example, okay, 100 will do fine. TCN provides 100, and then at the end of the day, you take maybe 45, you take maybe 60. You don't take what you asked for. So that's a form of load rejection, and I just wanted to simplistically explain it.
Okay. TCN has embarked on needless propaganda, and that is the only reason why we try to respond. Other than that, we are busy trying to make the industry better than we found it. And you can find that, you can check for yourself. When last did you see any MDC of any disco in this country going from one media house to the other peddling information, largely false information? You don't see that with the discos. We do not engage in that. What we do, NCC, National Control Center, is part of the TCN. Every information regarding energy that is sent out in this country, we obtain from NCC. But I was trying to talk about the value chain so that people will understand that we have generation, transmission, and distribution. That's number one. When they generate electricity, the person in the middle needs to will the power to us as distributors. You cannot distribute what has not been willed to you. So I'll give a few examples. On the 1st of February 2016, this country generated the highest power in this country since 1960. The highest, 1st of February 2016. On that day, they generated 5,074 megawatts. The TCN, who is supposed to wield the power, all they brought to us on that day was 4,557 megawatts. That's 1st of February 2016.
That is all the discos.
All the discos
all
together,
the discos
in
under
the
the umbrella.
Country. Yes. So generation was 5,074, but they could not will everything. That shows you the weakness in that point in the value chain. TCN is the weakest link, is the worst. But I won't just use those words. I will give you figure, facts. You can verify. You can go on the website.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
So let me read it out. Uncle Yori, 3 of them. I need to do that. It's important.
Okay.
I said on the 1st of February 2016,
okay,
the country generated 5,074 megawatts, and they wheeled only 4,557. And that's the highest they've ever done till this morning. On the 18th of December 2018, this country generated another high, 5,222 megawatts. This same TCN only wheeled 4,049 megawatts. Remember, the previous year, they were able to wheel 4,557. It has even gone down. Their capacity to wheel the power, right? This year, on the 7th of February 2019, this country generated 5,375 megawatts. TCN, they were only able to wheel 4,303. But there's something I want to say about TCN. TCN belongs to the federal government 100%. It is still the same old NEPA. Okay? Generation companies are about 60%, minimum 60% privately owned. Distribution companies, 60% privately owned. Transmission Company of Nigeria in the middle, 100% government owned, government corporation, right? But it has even become an empire, and I will explain what I mean.
One moment, sir.
Because
before you go, I would like to listen. I would like to listen.
Yes.
I would really like to listen. But in that analogy, you know, TCM being 100% government owned.
Yes.
I wanted to bring something out.
Yes.
You know, the point came up, you might agree or not, that the whole liberalization of power is a good thing. But I heard the comment from UG, UG Mohammed, the managing director, chief executive of TCN, that we did the right thing, but perhaps we did it in the wrong way. Discos are made up, consider this idea, discos are made up largely of former NEPA people, largely. Wait a minute, it's a position that I want to take from you.
Okay.
So the idea is that, you know, when you privatize, where did you get people from? Largely former NEPA people are in place in those facilities.
As employees or as investors? Because it's important for me to find out.
Well, I'm happy you've made that point, but I want you to address it holistically. Yes. So largely we're almost like in the same place of when it was a NEPA and a set of people were in charge. Now it's been liberalized, but you still find that you're not too distant from the personnel. And you're making the distinction between investors and actually those who are working. Would you like to continue with that point? Because this is part of the problem. And I want you to link it to capacity.
Thank you very much.
Capacity.
Let me make it very clear.
And the figures you gave, I think, what is 8,000, TCN has said that it has increased its capacity. It has increased its capacity. But please, take the whole thing.
You see, what we keep on saying is that we should not play politics with power in this country. Power sector, electricity. We should not play politics with electricity. We should put the nation first. Nigerians need electricity. Okay, all this needless back and forth ought not to be there. If only there can be collaboration.
Are you happy with the capacity?
And
as a man of, as a technical person,
it is not
the capacity among the discos?
I don't want to be talking about an individual who has made himself a very ambitious emperor. I will talk about the leadership of the TCN. And I'm talking about what I'm saying as a person. What I'm saying is this. TCN lied that their capacity is 8,100.
That's very
strong. I repeat on national TV. Let me repeat. My name is Sunday Odunton. Transmission Company of Nigeria leadership lied.
How do you
What they did, they did a computer simulation that supposedly gave them 8,100 megawatts. The same people that did that, I've just read out a figure for you. They should come out and say it is not true. The same people have never been able to wheel more than 5,500 in this country. Never.
So you are
never
claiming,
before. So I'm not claiming.
You are asserting that the claim of TCN
is totally untrue.
To have done 8,100, to have the capacity.
To say the least,
the capacity.
Is political.
In other words, they can take it if they can bring it.
It's ambitious.
Wait a minute, sir.
It's ridiculous.
What they are saying is that we can take it. We can take it if they can bring it. So we can take it.
Let me tell you what it is.
We can take it if we can bring it.
Thank you for reminding me. In 2015, this same TCN, but Mr. UG Mohammed was not there. maybe we wouldn't have gotten that good figure if he was there. Maybe the person that was there was a more truthful person. 2015, TCN came.
I'm surprised.
TCN came.
I'm sorry. I'm surprised you were to put it like that.
Let me explain.
You know, we don't like people to cast aspersions on persons.
I'm sorry. As much as possible, I want to refrain from even mentioning anybody's name. But the leadership of TCN is lying as of today. In 2015, TCN carried out a stress test. The purpose of the stress test was to know the capacity of each layer in the value chain: generation, transmission, and distribution. In the case of the discos that I represent, they came up with a figure that discos have the maximum capacity to distribute electricity that is worth 6,288 megawatts. Let me repeat the figure: 6,288 megawatts. And I just told you, I said the highest that we've ever been given was 4,557.
Okay.
The highest generation so far was 5,375. That was this year, 7th of February. That was what was generated. But from that generation figure of that day, TCN was only able to give us 4,303, and we distributed all. Where we have issues is where they do load dumping. They call it load rejection. That is not true. There's a difference between load dumping and load rejection.
What is the difference from Annette's point of view? From Annette's point of view, because it's a straightforward enough fact that they requested for a certain. Let me use the word quantity.
Yes.
They've requested for this. We provide it. No. They can't take it.
They have never given us everything we have requested for. They have never been able to give us that exact figure.
So you say there's a difference between dumping and...
Let me talk about dumping, load dumping, and load rejection. Load rejection, you see, I'm selling power. Let's not talk common sense. I'm a distributor, a trader in electricity. And the people that want electricity, they can't even get enough. So the little they give me, I'll be foolish, I'll be stupid to reject it. I should be taking it to go and sell so that I can make money, correct? Common sense, right?
Yeah.
Load dumping, on the other hand, this is TVC, whether the place is called Shangisha or Magodo. If I'm a distributor and the trailer that is going to bring my good, if I have a warehouse in Magodo, I have another one in Surulere, I have one in Agege, I have a right to tell the transporter that I want my load in Magodo. If that's where I have my commercially viable customers who are willing and ready to pay. If the person, because his trailer, the tires are bad, the roads are bad, he cannot bring my good to Magodo, he now decides to go and dump it in Agege, I will reject it. And I will continue to reject that. I will say, take it to Magodo. That's where I need it.
So that is dumping.
That is dumping. That's what they do. They do it because
that is referred to as dumping, right?
Let me continue. Let me finish that point. They do that load dumping because the transmission company of Nigeria is so weak and is radial in nature. Radial, as it goes straight. There is supposed to be a loop. I had experience in this industry in the United Kingdom. Everywhere in the world, there's supposed to be a loop. When it is radial, if there's a problem on this side or that side, they can't turn. That's number one problem with it. Number two, they cannot monitor their own line. NCC at Oshogbo, National Control Center, that's why they were talking about SCADA.
Well,
they don't have SCADA. You should be able to monitor your line real time. Even here in TVC, you are able to monitor what you shoot out real time. You can see what you are projecting to the world. The moment you cannot see it, and you rely on telephone, hello, hello, what it means is that you are just doing it manually. That's what they are doing. And we are not here to accuse anybody. We are saying there's a need for more investment in all the value chain. We are also saying there's a need for there to be alignment of the value chain, technical and commercial alignment. Technical alignment means if you generate 10,000, you must be able to will the 10,000. You must be able to distribute the 10,000. That's what Nigeria needs. Commercial alignment means you cannot expect me to buy a product at an average of 18.88 kobo. And you are forcing me by law to be selling the same product at 31.56 kobo. And you expect me to be 100% efficient. Because I cannot be efficient.
This comes to another point I was going to make.
Yes, efficiency is linked to pricing.
Where you got to right now has brought us to another point I wanted to make. And before I make the point stroke, ask the question, I did want to appeal that I understand the passion. You are Executive Director, Research and Advocacy. I understand that. But there are instances where you inadvertently no doubt slipped into abusive language, which I'm sure was not your intention.
I will not abuse.
Yes, so, I just would like to appeal that we can make the points that you need to make without necessarily being abusive. Thank you very much. Now, the other point that I wanted to make was the market operator in your sector recently, reportedly, has begun to insist on applying market rules. This is, especially as it regards invoice payments and bank guarantees. This apparently doesn't work well with you all. Give me your comment on, that is a good step. That is a straightforward step. Applying market rules, especially as it relates to invoices and bank guarantees. Let me
explain that. We are not,
because
we are not
anything that is worrying you will also affect the ultimate consumer, because you won't be able to be at your most efficient. So how problematic has that been for your members?
We are not against market rules. We are always willing always to work and abide by the rules.
You may be willing. Are you able?
That's what I want to explain. But let me first of all say something about TCN structure. TCN, we expected,
the
system
the question was about market rules.
Operator is under TCN. That's what I believe you don't know. Let me explain it. TCN, the 2 licenses have been issued for TSP, which is what we call Transmission Service Provider.
I know.
And ISO, Independent System Operator.
Which is entirely...
They are supposed to be independent separately. TCN is a market participant. They are not regulators. Sorry, I mean, this is part of the reason why we think that at this point, this is where our regulators need to really step in and do their job. Because the TCN management cannot, as a market participant, at the same time try to be the regulator in this sector.
Okay,
it's not possible.
How does applying market rules begin to approach the work of a regulator?
So, what I'm saying is that whether you're talking about market operator, which is being controlled 100% by the TCN,
and insisting on best practices,
independent.
Insisting on best practices.
Not about that.
Not
about that. Okay. For instance, earlier we were talking about figure. I'll just quickly talk about that. Data. Because if the ISO, the system operator, is allowed to be independent, there will not be room for manipulation. And I'll give you a simple example. You know the NCC report, the report that we quoted, all those things about energy sent out and everything, were something we obtained from the same TCN, the same organization. But we noticed that from December last year, normally, the NCC report includes gas constraints gas constraints data on gas constraint, when we're talking about why we're not able to give enough electricity. From December, that has disappeared from the data they give to the public. And that was done and manipulated by the system. And what do I mean? In the VP's office, they still give that.
You make it sound like TCN is actually working against ANED. And I can't imagine why there will be any such need.
Well,
I can't imagine.
Well, the TCN management is working against itself, against the country, and against electricity.
But that can't be.
Not against discourse necessarily.
But that can't be.
What I'm saying is that we've been calling
this is a bit like a debating point that you are making.
I'm saying that if a data is coming out from one source, and you read the data from the VP office, and it is different from the data that is sent out to the public, somebody's manipulating data. And I'm saying that's what the TCN is doing. So we got facts from the VP office. It's a public document. We have access to it. And we see that from that data, since December, the one to the public has no data on gas constraint. And we need to know whenever there's no gas, because majority of our generation in this country from gas. 25 out of 28 companies rely on gas. So essentially what happened was that the issue of market rules, the issue of paying 100% to the market, that's what it means. All this talk about market rules. It's about me as a distributor. I've gone to buy electricity, sell to my customers or consumers, as the case may be. I should be able to collect 100% and pay 100% back to the value chain, right? We're the one collecting on behalf of the whole industry, right? But this is now the issue. And that's why I liken it to bread. If I'm a bread distributor and the bakery sells bread to me at 80 naira per loaf, But the government of Lagos State says that I should be selling that same bread at 31 naira.
Okay.
It means that before selling at all, there's a shortfall. And nobody is paying for that. The Lagos government is not giving me any subsidy. So that means that there's no way I can pay 100% back to the bakery if I'm taking it on credit from the bakery.
You're making it sound like you're making it sound therefore as if it's impossible to be a distributor. From the example,
I'm saying that
you're saying it's
current
impossible
structure, and that's why let me commend our regulator NEC. They themselves, the regulator of this sector, have also realized that there's a tariff mismatch. You can't be buying at a higher price and selling the same product at a lower price.
And this is called,
and
this is what it is referred to as applying the market rules as it relates to invoicing and bank guarantees.
Market rules about doing things the way it is supposed to be done.
Yes.
Okay.
And so what?
And
you explain the challenge. You explain the challenge.
You can only
that we can't sell.
As long as you are buying, not that we cannot sell. As long as you are buying at a price.
By the official price.
The price that you are buying that product for is higher than the selling price.
Okay.
Simple economics issue. This one is not a big deal.
It's not going to be possible.
So the moment you are still doing that, you can't pay 100% to the person who
I think I get that. I get
That's
that.
what we're saying.
I get that for the moment. And I'm going to come back and because I've got to go on a break now, but we're going to have to know how far you can come to meeting, because you just said that you have nothing against market rules, the market operator or market rules, but subject to this explanation. Stay with us, please. Let me go on a break. We'll be right back, and we'll continue this conversation. And of course, maybe you have some questions too. We'll include your calls. Okay, welcome back, and continuing our conversation with Chief Sunday Oduton, who is Executive Director of Research and Advocacy of the Association of Nigerian, is it Nigerian or National Electricity Distributors?
Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, ANED, A-N-E-D.
AKA ANED. Okay,
Yes.
Now, so we're looking at this whole issue. Just to recap, this whole business, everybody is united in wanting to do what every Nigerian wants, indeed deserves, indeed is his rights. Power to everybody. That unifies from the generator to the transmission right down to you. But from this conversation, it's like almost what shouldn't be. There seems to be some infighting going on in there. Why is everybody not united in a way that can make it work? Well, and so you are saying that, well, from my end, I'm being frustrated by this end. Somebody saying that, well, from our end here, the capacity is an issue there. Now, you've told me about that. Maybe you'll talk about a bit more about it. But going back to this whole matter of capacity, capacity is not just about money. It's also about being able to do the job, the technical knowledge, the space, whatever, and also investment. After your members actually won the process and became discos, are you happy with the rate of investment so far? In other words, would you say there has been appreciable, commensurate investment in the sector for you to be able to do your job well?
Okay. I think all of us need to, first of all, understand one important principle. Number one is we need to understand what drives business in any country. The environment, the issue of sanctity of contract, where people that you have contract with, i.e. government, must be able to always and all the time respect the sanctity of contract. Now, in the case of the discos, they paid a cash sum of $1.4 billion, not naira. And they bought the assets. But on the back of it, there were agreements that were reached. Every single thing that the federal government then committed to doing, they did not do. And those things were conditional upon what the discos, the new investors, were also expected to do. An example is the issue of pricing. We're selling you this thing. They have to they fix the price like all over the world. Not that you just go and sell it anyhow. And they said, we will ensure that you are giving, in that document they call it cost reflective tariff. What that means is appropriate pricing of the product. A price that will take care of the cost of production. So if it costs you 80 naira to produce, maybe we now allow you to sell for 80 naira, 88 kobo, something like that. But soon after takeover, the then government reneged. Then we started selling. They fixed a price that was much lower than that appropriate price. That was the first major problem. And that then brought about what we now currently have, which is a shortfall of in excess of 1.3 trillion naira for the whole industry. That shortfall keeps building. Because if you are buying a product at 80 naira, you are selling at 30 naira. Even out of 30 naira, you are not able to collect more than 20. Those who steal electricity, those who will not pay, illegal connection, a lot of other issues like that. At the end of the day, you are building a shortfall. And that continues to affect the liquidity of the industry. That is
and therefore
a
probably
major,
also effectiveness.
So when you're not talking about efficiency,
okay.
Efficiency is linked to pricing. You cannot take pricing away from efficiency. But now talking about investment.
Therefore, you're tacitly admitting in there that, yeah, there are issues, but it's because of what you've just explained. There are issues whereupon...
There are issues across the board.
So efficiency...
We are not efficient enough.
And not being as efficient as it could be, you're saying that, well, if you want to go there, then you've explained why.
And in addition to that, when they fix the price, they also give you what we call allowable capex. Capex means capital expenditure. For those who don't understand, people that talk about, they have not done any investment. What have they done? Sometimes some people talk about it out of ignorance, and I can pardon them. Those who say that out of mischief, I cannot pardon them. But when they give you allowable capex, it means that if they, let me give you the figure. Every disco must not spend more than 5.5 billion naira a year on any capital expenditure. Pole, transformer, cables, vehicles, even meters then, before MAP came. All those capital expenditure, they say you cannot spend more than that. One disco.
That is
recently.
I'm talking about investment.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm hoping you reach where you point to me appreciable investments, which is one of the charges.
Allowable, not appreciable. I said allowable.
No,
what you are allowed to spend.
Okay.
They say we are selling you TVC.
You are saying no matter what you want to do by way of investing, you are capped. You are not allowed.
That's what I'm saying.
Even if you want to invest, you
are not allowed to spend more than that.
You're not allowed to spend more than 5 billion in investing.
Remember the tariff.
If that were the case, are you saying that most discos have indeed satisfied that quota of investing close to 5 billion?
More than that. I will give you an example. One disco recently just purchased what we call commercial management system, a particular ICT application. That application alone costed 2 billion naira. If you take 2 billion out of 5.5 billion in a year, you're almost there. Now, the fact is that AFD, that's an African, a French development agency, that body recently in a report on capital expenditure, they recommended that Nigeria, each disco should be allowed to spend $181 million, which is 65 billion naira per disco per year.
Okay.
That's the only way we can do what we need to do. The network, all those infrastructure that are dilapidated, that's the only way we can make progress. They recommended that 65 billion per disco per year What we are giving as of today is 5.5 billion naira per disco per year. You cannot spend outside of your allowable capital expenditure, capex. So when you cannot do anything outside capex, how can anybody now come around and say, they have not been investing, they have not been, but the records are there, and anybody can go on the NEC website. NEC is our regulator. This is a heavily regulated industry.
Okay.
This is not about TCN, DISCO, GENCO. This is about Nigeria.
Okay.
This is about power sector. We are saying we are not getting things right yet because we are not even doing the right thing.
Well, actually, that seems to be what TCN is also saying. You are saying it. TCN is saying the same thing, but the details you provide to back that position are wildly different.
Until all of us, and those who need to provide that leadership, until they think about providing the right leadership by bringing all stakeholders together and say, Mr. Yenko, what is your problem? Mr. Disco, what is your problem?
You mean that hasn't been done all this while?
No.
Okay.
There's no alignment.
Mr. George, good morning and thank you for holding on there. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and greetings to your guest.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, in the first place, as a consumer and as a Nigerian, I feel belittled that the discos appear to be practicing what I call a gang-up. If the CEO of a transmission company can come and talk to the public directly, the MD of a regulatory agency of the sector can come and talk to us directly, and even the Minister of Power can come and talk to us directly. Why is it that the discos cannot, the CEOs of the various discos cannot talk to us and discuss their problems with us directly? They went and hired a lawyer to be talking to us. The problem or the challenges in Disco 1 cannot be the same with challenges in Disco B, or the circumstances are not likely to all be the same. I am demanding that they should learn to talk to us directly and hear from us rather than organizing what I can describe as a gang-up. That's number one, sir. Two, the gentleman, the chief in front of you says that they are made to buy electricity at a higher price and sell at a lower price. I am aware that the federal government has subsidized them not less than 3 times. How much of DISCO's money is in the operational fund? The electricity is subsidized. That is why the private investors are not owning it 100%. So the subsidy lies in the subvention that the government gives them. What they are doing, for example, in Lagos, a few days ago when the CEO of the transmission company came on, we were discussing the issue, and we saw circumstances where the chief in front of you have listened to him in some other platforms where they are doing what I can call price discrimination. I'm a rich man in one corner, another poor man in one corner. They want to charge me more than the poor man is consuming. 1 unit I consume, you take 20 naira. 1 unit the other man consumes because he lives in another area, you take less or you take more. That is what economists call price discrimination. It is not called for. Is that in the law?
Okay.
Or the agreement that was reached before the discourse came on?
Okay.
They should please learn to respect us.
All right.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. If you could address the business part of it,
the first thing I want to say is that in this country we have Nigerian Bar Association, to which I belong. We also have
because what he
Manufacturer
said there was that
Association of Nigeria.
We need to explain this thing.
We need to explain this thing.
You're a professional advocate.
No, I'm not a professional advocate.
But you are executive director, research and advocacy.
Advocate.
But you are executive director, research and advocacy. That's your title. That's your proper title. Research and advocacy.
What I'm saying is just for enlightenment purposes. People that don't understand. Every disco CEO in their respective franchise areas speak to their customers on issues that are peculiar to that franchise area. All of them collectively also speak to the country and to their customers on issues that are common to all of them.
Okay.
99% of issues
yes.
from Disco A is the same thing. The problem in Abeokuta is the same thing as the problem in Binikabi. Okay. I've gone out the country many times, and I know what I'm talking about. That's number one.
Number I feel two, that we can leave that to one side.
Yes.
Now, going to the substance of
the issue of subvention.
Subvention.
Again, the gentleman, and with all respect, the gentleman is wrong. No disco has been given any subvention since 2013. And I repeat, no subvention. What we had was that there was a time the federal government gave us loans to pay for the legacy gas debts that were incurred by NEPA and PACN on gas. They were given to us to pay for those legacy gas debts. And it was a loan. The difference is that it was given at 10% interest rate, and it's being paid back to the Central Bank of Nigeria as a first charge every month, all the discos. So no subvention, no subsidy given. So people should try to maybe go on websites, not our website necessarily. You can go on the website of our regulator, NEC, to learn more and understand more, so we don't have all this wrong impression.
But you heard the point. We often are able to speak with the minister in charge of this sector. We're often able to talk with, as the chief executive of CEO, CEO of TCN came on. The discourse,
I reject the assertion of gang up. I decided to refrain from addressing that. Unless those who don't know law or legality of things, or the right of people to associate in this country, anybody saying something otherwise is either being political or malicious or mischievous. But so if you need a disco CEO, I'm challenging you, Uncle Yori. Give me a disco CEO. I'll bring him here. He'll come and talk to you. It's not about talking to an individual.
Solomon, in South Africa, your power situation in South Africa is different from our own. Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, very good work you're doing there.
Thank you very much.
My short contribution is I've watched this gentleman on other TV stations. But I'm sorry to say this, he's not being very, very straight and fair.
How do you mean?
It's not being fair.
How do you mean?
Most of the times he's busy, he's busy blaming other transmission, this and that. Then the discos don't have any fault. I mean, one. Secondly, why is it so difficult for them to roll out prepaid meters to consumers? Uncle Yori, if today the government decide to probe these discos, I'm telling you, they are the main problem of the power sector in Nigeria. They need to be changed or perhaps probed into the activities. They are the ones sabotaging the effort of the government. I'm not in the country, but I've watched him several times.
Solomon, that's a heavy biggie. That's a real biggie. How do you mean sabotaging?
It's sabotaging in the sense that they are the ones frustrating other sectors. Uncle Yori, let's be fair. Honestly, it might seem ridiculous, but that is the truth.
Okay.
And I said I've heard him spoken in other stations on these particular matters.
Okay.
There is no time he owns up that the discos have a fault.
That the discos have any
fault
challenges.
with other agencies, not discos at all.
Okay, Solomon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir.
I started this morning by saying that the discos are not efficient enough. Anybody who can play this back, or the gentleman can replay it, or go on YouTube by tomorrow.
Well, actually, it's good that you're highlighting this. No.
I've said it
Chief,
here.
It's excellent that you're highlighting this, because this is what people are saying, that it seems as if the discos alone are blameless in this chain.
No.
But I'm very happy that you've added that. No. The discos are not as efficient as they can be.
They're not. They are not. I spoke about efficiency earlier on. I haven't linked efficiency to pricing. I haven't told you about efficiency before I even came on air about bread and nylon of the bread. The nylon you put bread into. If you sell bread without nylon naked, it's not good. You need to put it inside nylon.
And I
explained the issue of pricing.
The discos are
However, what I'm saying is, Mr. Solomon doesn't live in Nigeria. I've had to live abroad before where things work for 26 years. So I can understand his own points. But with respect, he's wrong. How can somebody pay $1.4 billion to buy some entities and you will not want that entity to work? How can you want to frustrate your own investment when you have not been able to recoup anything back? So it is in the interest of the discos for the power sector to work efficiently. It is in the interest of the disco for things to be well with the gencos and transmission, we are a value chain. It's like an umbilical cord. Each of the layers is interdependent on the other.
Yes, yes.
And I said it without blaming anybody.
No.
I say I can only distribute what has been produced and transmitted to me. And I said a bakery produces 5,000 loaves of bread. The pickup goes there and pick only 4,000.
So the expression ganging up, the expression of ganging up, where
those who are saying that,
you know, that
I think
that
it's a
expression,
mindset.
no, that expression is probably
unfortunately in Nigeria, anything
well,
happens.
you know, as you said, everybody has the right to associate.
Sad,
all the members, the 11 members on the ANED, you know, they have a right to come together. But if they are coming together and
Manufacturers Association of Nigeria,
and
how
are
many
saying,
has come here to
and are saying by not saying, and are saying that, look, everybody, and are saying that.
Then let me talk about Mita.
Only
the man in South Africa who is not even here, who does not even know what's going on here.
Please,
need to understand
I'm going to interrupt
you,
but you can include.
asset provider.
I'm going to interrupt you
We're talking
because
about
I don't want to
metering.
lose a caller. So
These
continue
calls are not
the point you're making under this caller, please.
Yes,
I don't want to lose him. Okay. I think it's Abiodun in Leeds. Abiodun in the UK. Is that you?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Akuyori.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for the good work you are doing.
You're very
and
kind,
I want
sir.
to thank my learned brother there.
Okay.
Yeah, Brother Sunday Odunton.
Yes.
Good
okay.
morning, sir.
For the work. My question goes like this: if this problem is on the ground, and the discos know that these problems are on the ground before they sign the contract, so why do they sign the contract in the first place when they know that there's a problem on ground that they cannot resolve?
Okay. Okay.
So why that's my number one question. Number two, because in the contract you get to know, they say one of the primary responsibility of the disco is that they should issue the prepaid meter to the customers.
Thank you.
Why are they dragging their foot in giving the meter? Because that's what is causing problem with Nigeria now. You start paying crazy bills for what you are not consuming.
Thank you, Abiodun. Thank you very much, Abiodun. I've got to let go of you now. Thank you. I really appreciate your call. Your first question is one that I actually asked the chief myself. Say, you know all of this. Why did you come into this business? You know, I had asked the question off air.
Thank you very much. Before Nigeria started this privatization, the journey started in 2001 during the regime of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. And that journey, that reform of the power sector is a long journey, step by step, stage by stage. It happened to be a long journey, and we're still on that journey. We're still far away from being there. We're not at the destination. We're not even halfway into that destination, into that journey.
Okay.
Now, the point is that there were problems. We copied this model from New Delhi in India. They had the same problem. If you go to Manila in Philippines, same. Even here in Africa, Uganda and Kenya. But the issue is that there were plans on how to deal with each of the problems that we might encounter. But a major problem that strangulated the sector was the lack of sincerity on the part of the people driving the policy then. When they reneged, shortly after this guy have signed, they reneged from the main thing on the agreement, which is that the product, electricity is a product that is like bread, like any other product, that should be sold at the appropriate price. Now you can hold the operator, the discos, accountable. That's one. Then the issue of meters. Meter is important to us, just like it is very important to our customers, because then people can be able to measure what they use. What we currently have, and that's what I was trying to say to Mr. Solomon of South Africa, that the federal government has taken the initiative of the metering initiative away from the discos. And we are happy with the initiative. They came up with what they call MAP, Meter Asset Providers. Meters are now being installed by external contractors given to us, accredited by our regulator, which is a good thing because the purpose of it was to ensure that more people are metered, the metering gap is filled. And we're working under that program called MAP, Meter Asset Provider.
How wide is the metering gap now? I mean, the ratio between those that have and those that should have but don't have.
Less than 4 million households are yet to be metered. not less than that in the whole
Out of
country.
a total million of total households of how many?
About, well, I wouldn't know because we don't even know Nigerian
We don't know
population.
statistics, but you say there are
but
4
going
million
by our
households
customer figures,
yet to be metered
that
for the time being.
About that. So with the program, the process of MAP
Okay.
that's going on.
Taiwo,
people
I
will be
hear that
metered
you're
with
holding
time.
on in the Alakwere Ketu. So sorry about that, Taiwo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I just want to follow one of the, I think the caller from South Africa asking why is there a delay in the rolling out of prepaid meters. For example, in my area, some houses already have the prepaid meters. So those of us who do not have access to the prepaid meters, we bear the burden of paying exorbitant amounts on the electricity bill. That's one. And secondly, even in every attempt to get the prepaid meter, now we are told that we have to pay for the prepaid meters. Why is that so?
Thank you very much, Taiwo. Forgive me for interrupting you, but we've almost run out of time. And Chief, I do implore you, please be like bullet point like in your answers. We don't have the time.
I implore the last caller to please go on the website of Ikeja Electric. She will see MEP somewhere in the corner there. She will click it, apply for a prepaid meter, and once you do all of that, they will tell you where to pay. They will give you all the details of what you need to do. Once you do all of that, they will come and meter you.
Okay, they will.
Usually within 10 days.
They will.
They will definitely.
The meters are actually in existence because a lot of us have actually paid and did not get. And we'll be hearing this story right on button.
And that's what I'm saying, that we are not efficient enough. A new program of metering is an initiative of the federal government through our regulator.
You said so.
And these are being done by external investors. And that's why they say people should pay for it.
Now, we've almost
That's
run out
not
of
our
time.
own. We don't fix any price.
I would like another half hour, but we don't have it. And but is there anything else that you felt you need to leave with us? Because
yes,
all you people should be working together.
I want to. That's
and
exactly
the point has
where
been
I'm
made
going.
that you always present as if discos are saints and angels.
Me? No, never. That's not within my. You can go on YouTube. My name is Sunday Oduton. Go back there. You see more than 80 videos. There's no single time I will speak without saying that we have a lot more to do, even on customer services. So it's not within my character. INET is not out to cover up any disco.
There is a lot more work to be done, and you are actually engaged in that work.
There's a need for all of us,
including investment. I've been told I've run out of time.
There's a need for all of us to work together. Discos, transmission, and generation companies, as well as our regulator. That's what I think is missing: collaboration, alignment, and cooperation.
Okay, I want to thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Sunday Oduton is Asiwaju Bamofin of Egbaland. He's also Executive Director, Research and Advocacy of ANET. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.